Hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. My name is Jennifer Tarle, and I am the owner of Tarle Speech and Language Services. Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight, we are going to be discussing the top 10 ESL vowel mistakes that many of my clients make. So hopefully this class will help you get started down the road to better pronunciation. If you have any questions during the class, please let me know. I will be taking questions as we go along, so go ahead and type your questions in if you have any. Also, if you have any questions after the class, please feel free to email me. My email is jennifer@tarlespeech.com. And you can also check out my website at tarlespeech.com. And just so you know, my website is going to be undergoing a little reboot, so check back for that. We should be launching that here in the near future. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint with you. And there we are. So here we are for the top 10 ESL vowel mistakes. All right, so here are the biggest mistakes that I see from all of my clients. So number one, I see what I call open vowel mistakes. And what that means is that in English, we have some vowels that we make with a very wide open mouth. And this could be the short ah and the short ah sound. So for example, these are in the words cat after match, bought, caught, and coffee. Then we have, I think, two vowels that seem to be very similar to many of my clients. And that's the long E as in eat, seem, and peat versus the short I as in it, been, and women. R, that R sound is always a struggle for many of my clients, and the R, unfortunately, is not just a consonant sound, as in the words run and river. It is also a vowel sound, and we see the R vowel sound that can be short as the sound, and earn, sir, and fur. It can also be long, and it can have movement to it when it's combined with another vowel, which creates its own new vowel in fire, for, and far. The fourth subset that I see are movement vowel mistakes, and that's the long O, I, and A. These are made with an open mouth, and the mouth shape moves. And oftentimes my clients don't do this. So the vowels that we're going to be working on are O and open, cone, and no. And the I and I, mine, and my. And the A and abe, tape, and pay. And lastly, we have the short vowel, This vowel is so confusing. It's short, it's unstressed. And I think the biggest confusion is that in English, it can be a whole syllable. So this really confuses people. And the short vowel, we hear an up, Jennifer, and cut. So how do you know what sound to say? First, you just need to practice your listening. Watch some of my free videos that are listed on the website, on YouTube rather. They're also on my website. You can also get some list of words on the internet. I have some on my website, and you can actually just listen to words. Listen to them, really get to hear this sound. Number two, you're going to want to follow spelling rules, which are notoriously confusing if you do not grow up speaking English. And I'm going to go through some really basic spelling rules today, which I think will help. Use the dictionary. You can get to the dictionary online, which is great. It will give you the pronunciation. It will also give you some help with the spelling when it's sort of a confusing spelling, or ask an American. I really encourage you when you're working on your pronunciation, if you do live in the US, tell a trusted colleague or friend at work you're working on your pronunciation and ask them to really help you. Ask them to tell you when you're not saying a word correctly, because most people won't tell you because they don't want to embarrass you. So I really, really encourage you to ask a friend for some help. All right. So I'm going to switch back to the video at this point so you can see my mouth while I explain this. And then I will put the PowerPoint up again so you can see it. At the end of the presentation, check back to my website and I will post the handouts there for you. You can also get the recorded version of this live class on YouTube, and you can watch that again and again. And if you like it, go ahead and share that with your friends. All right, so for spelling, we are going to go for the short vowel sounds first. And the short vowel sounds are a, I, and And let's take a look at these on the PowerPoint so that you can get a better feel for this. If a word or a syllable ends in a consonant or two, then the vowel is pronounced as short. So here are some examples. So we have a word, it ends in a consonant sound, a consonant letter, then the vowel will be pronounced as short. That's bat, sat, cat. For the short E, bet, set, let. The short I, bit, sit, tip. The short O, caught, lot, tops. The short butt, cut, cup. The short book, cook, put. And the short fur, sir, stir, and slur. So just by listening at that, you're getting a good idea of short vowel sounds. They're short and quick. Bat, bet, bit, caught, butt, book, fur. Now, we're going to hear some long vowel sounds. And a spelling rule for the long vowel sound is a silent E rule. And what does that mean? That means that when a word ends in a letter E, the vowel before it is pronounced long. And a long vowel, this is really easy to remember, is essentially the name of the letter. That is also the letter sound. So we're talking about two things here, and let me stress that a little bit. Letters are how we spell a word. Sounds are how we pronounce or say the word. So spelling rules are talking about the letters. Pronunciation are the sounds. Spelling and pronunciation are not a one-for-one correct correspondence in English, as in many languages. I know, for instance, in Spanish, you have the ba, baby, bo, boo. The syllable is spelled the same way in every word, not necessarily the case in English. So that's where these spelling rules are going to help you. So for the long vowels, we have the long A with the silent E rule, Kate, Kate, ace. Long E, Pete. Long I, pine, dime, five. Long O, note, code. And long U, cute. So listening to all of those long vowels, Kate, Pete, pine, note, cute. So you can hear they're a lot longer than the short vowels, which is why I differentiate long versus short. Another spelling rule for long vowels is when, I love this one, I learned this when I was in second grade from my teacher, and I still use this to teach today. I love this. When two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. So what does that mean? When words are spelled with two vowels together right next to each other, then the first vowel says its name while the second is silent. So for example, in this long E, two E's together, we're going to say the first E and not the second one. Meet, eat, sleep. We can also spell that with an EA, seat, treat, team. This works for the long O, coat, loan, soap, and the long A, rain, claim, and fail. Sometimes spelling, unfortunately, does not help us, and that is in the case of the long OO. This can be spelled many ways in English. The long OW can be spelled many ways. The long OI and long R movement vowels. These mistakes, typically, I see from clients, the pronunciation of these sounds because of the spelling. Long R movement vowels are just notoriously confusing. So I suggest for practice, if you're looking for a way to practice this and learn these sort of irregular spellings, I love rhyming dictionaries. I particularly like the Scholastic Rhyming Dictionary by Sue Young. It is written for young children, but it is fantastic because it gives word families, words that rhyme and sound the same, and you can see then how the spelling differs. So I really suggest that if you're looking to kind of hone your spelling a little bit, that will help your pronunciation. The letter O is also very, very confusing. And again, we're talking about spelling here. Using the letter O for spelling, the words can be pronounced in many, many ways. So again, you're really going to need to use a dictionary for this or just listen, listen, listen. So the letter O can be pronounced short as a short O, coffee, chocolate, boss, as a short none, done, nothing, as a short woman, as a long do, lose, to, and two. And yes, these two words, to and TOO, are all pronounced the same way. So 3 different spellings, 1 pronunciation. And the long O, no, note, and bonus. So again, spelling and pronunciation are very different. So you're really going to want to pay attention to how the word is pronounced, not just how it is spelled. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to stop the screen share for a second. And now I'm back. Let's go ahead and start on the common mistakes that I see and how to fix them. So let's start first of all with the open vowels. So the biggest mistakes that I see is that, number 1, people do not open their mouth enough. That is the number 1 mistake. So instead of saying ah and ah, I hear people say ah. And you can just see by looking at me, it's a very closed mouth posture instead of the open ah and ah. Okay, so mistake number 2 would be a reading mistake. And that might be something like saying main instead of man, because you see the letter A and you say A. So how do we fix this? Very easy. Open your mouth wider. Open it wider than you think you should be opening it, and you will probably be correct. So short A, as in ah, is made with a very wide open circle mouth. Ah. The ah is an oval shaped mouth that's very open, and that's the short O sound. So ah for short A, ah for short O. All right, so let's give this a try. Okay, just listen. After, as, add, avid, action, on, also, October, automatic, awful. Cab, hat, glass, can't, fantastic. Stop, calm, doctor, dog, boss. It is fantastic that the cab arrived on time. So repeat after me for a few words. After, as, cab, hat. Now try those words on your own. And let's move on to on, also, stop, calm. Now try those on your own. And then the sentence. It is fantastic that the cab arrived on time. Give that a try on your own. Excellent. Okay, so on to the next sound mistake that I see. This causes many of my clients much anxiety, this next mistake. It is the short I, versus the long E. So you can see those sounds look very similar. E. The big difference in the sounds is that the E, the long sound, your mouth is smiling and your lips are tense. E. That sound is very long. We hold it. E. The short I, your mouth is more relaxed and the sound is short. E. So what I hear from people is that they confuse these sounds mainly because they make the E too short and the I too long. So what happens is then you don't have an E and you don't have an I. You have a sound that's somewhere in the middle. So we want to work on making those sounds very, very different. And then, of course, because we talked about the spelling, I'm sure you can infer that I also see mistakes related to how people are reading the words instead of listening to the pronunciation. So to, again, fix the sound before we get into practice, make sure that the E is long with a very wide open mouth, a wide smile, E, and that the I is very short with relaxed lips that are not as wide. E, I. Okay, so let's give this a try. Just listen. Is, if, it, ill, incentive, east, eat, even, ear, easy, fit, sit, Tim, willing, business, speak, idea, renew, everyone. It is great speaking with you about these business opportunities. Okay, so repeat after me. Is, if, fit, sit. Okay, so go ahead and try those short I sounds by yourself. And the long E sounds. East, eat, speak, idea, and try those on your own. And now the sentence. It is great speaking with you about these business opportunities. All right, excellent. On to mistake pattern number 3. We have the R vowels. So some common mistakes that I hear on these vowels is that people make these vowels too relaxed. So instead of hearing I hear And on the R movement sounds, a lot of times people will only say one part of the sound. So I often might hear the word faux instead of for, because I'm only hearing one part of that vowel. So to fix it, make sure that your lips are round and tense for the You don't want to say with a very relaxed mouth. Your lips are slightly rounded and your lips are tense. If you confuse this sound with the L sound, which is a very common mistake that I see, make sure you think about the position of your tongue. And instead of having your tongue up top for the L sound, put the tip of your tongue in the bottom of your mouth behind your front teeth and the bottom of your mouth for that sound. And also remember, keep those lips tense. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this. Oh, and then the other thing, when you fix the R movement sound, you want to make sure that you move smoothly from one vowel to the and in doing that, you're going to create a new vowel. These aren't two separate vowels. It's one vowel that we create by quickly saying two vowels quickly together. So let me share my screen again. All right, so let's give it a try. Earn, early, term, learn, courtesy, fur, her, per, fire, for, far, fair, fear. Okay, so repeat after me. Earn, term, fur, fire, for, far, fair, fear. And try those words on your own. And let's try the sentence. The fire happened in the early morning per the news reports. Excellent. Okay. Now the next mistake pattern 4, are movement vowels. I call these movement vowels, they're long vowels, and essentially your mouth moves quickly from one position to another to create one vowel. So the most common mistake that I hear is that people do not move their mouth. And so instead of saying Kate, kite, or coat, I hear people say cut. And this gets very confusing because 3 different vowels are represented with one little short vowel. So that's confusing for people. And people make the sound too short. So how do we fix this? Move your mouth and make the sound longer. And do not be afraid to open your mouth and move it. This feels very weird when you've never done it. And so I really encourage you to kind of take this leap, practice, try to make your mouth move more than you think you should, and chances are you're probably going to be correct in pronouncing these sounds. So for the long A sound, you're going to open your mouth wide, and it's a wide circle, and it's going to move to a smile. A. For the long I, you're going to open your mouth in a wide oval and move to a smile. I. And for the long O, you are going to open your mouth and then move to rounded lips. O. Okay, so let's give these a try. Let me share my screen. Okay, just listen. Ape, cable, pay. I, bike, my. Open, nope, no. I want to pay for the bike rental when the store opens today. I want to pay for the bike rental when the store opens today. Okay, so repeat after me. Ape, I, open, and try those on your own. I want to pay for the bike rental when the store opens today. Beautiful. And our last mistake is pretty easy to fix, but everyone really struggles with this sound and they're not super crazy about it in terms of my clients, because spelling really doesn't help you. And this is the short sound. The biggest mistake that I see with the mispronunciation of the short sound is that people say the letter that the word is spelled with instead of saying the sound in the word. So they're saying the letter that's spelled, not the sound and how the word is pronounced. A great mistake that people make, which is how I teach the sound, is instead of calling me Jennifer, which has that short sound, people say Jen-e-fer. So I know that my name is spelled with an I, but it's pronounced with that short Jennifer. So to fix it, you're going to have to do a lot of listening practice. Listen, listen, listen. Listen to the radio, listen to television, listen to videos on YouTube, listen, listen, listen for sound. You don't necessarily have to listen for the content or the meaning of what people are saying. Listen for those sounds and you're going to pick up those little words and those short sounds that you're missing. This is an easy sound. Just relax your mouth. Easy breezy. And let's go ahead and try these. Let me share my screen. Just listen. Up, aboard, around. Done, touch, substitute. The California tuna. Okay, let's give this a try. Up. Done. The. Give those a try. And now the sentence. I kept in touch with Jennifer while I was in California. Excellent. Okay. So there you have it. 5 patterns, 10 mistakes. If you work on those, you're definitely going to see a big improvement in your pronunciation. And here's some quick tips on improving your pronunciation. Add pauses to your sentences after a phrase so that you have time to think about the words that you're saying and to focus on the pronunciation. When you're practicing, try not to look at the word. Try to put a few words in your head. If you're reading a list of words, look away from the page, practice those words because you want to focus on how that word sounds and how that word feels when you're pronouncing it. Because a lot of times reading confuses people and they get stuck in old patterns and reading old patterns and you're trying to break that. So if you're working on pronunciation, try to do some listening, repeating after someone, or look away from the words. Focus on the sounds of the word, not the spelling, and do not be afraid to move and open your mouth. You'll see a big difference if you do that. In terms of practice, it's important to practice every day. That really helps if you can. If you don't have a half of an hour, that's okay. If you can do a few 5-minute chunks of practice throughout the day, that's going to make a huge difference. And don't forget, ask someone for help. Ask someone to tell you if you're mispronouncing words, especially at work, if you speak English all day at work, because most people won't tell you if you are saying anything incorrectly. All right, a half of an hour goes so quickly. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Jennifer Tarle. I am the owner of Tarle Speech and Language Services. I have my email on the screen and my website on the screen. Please check us out. All of my free videos are on YouTube. If you're interested in classes, I do offer classes. Information is on the website. I also have products and we'll be coming out with some new products to help you that you can take with you and practice on the go. So again, thank you so much. give these things a try. People will definitely notice a difference in your pronunciation. And keep checking back, and we hope to see you again real soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.